report to the main office. Bryce Dennis, please report to the main office.
Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, today we have a great show for you. We're going to talk all about the big Game 1 victory for the Dodgers, and then set you up all for Game 2 tonight. So super excited about today's show. Super excited that you decided to log in. So Game 2, feel good about this as we log in immediately here on Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. What a beautiful Monday morning it is. Ready for some Dodgers baseball about 3 o'clock Pacific time today, looking to take Game 2 and put a throttle on this series. So let's go get 2 in Philadelphia tonight. No doubt about that, Chuck. So let's start in with today's show with the guy that is an enigma. Teo Hernandez. He hits the huge home run. It seems like, a couple of things about Teo that I always say about him. Number one is it feels like every time Teo has something big to offer for a game, the Dodgers win that game. It's just, I think the odds of that are I think the reason why that is because we say all the time, if you can just have one between Andy Pages, Will Smith, and Teo make an impact on the game, that lengthens your lineup. So then if the top of your lineup kind of does what they're supposed to, just generate something at the bottom, that's whenever you become the best offense possible. But whenever you become a longer offense is whenever somebody in the middle, typically speaking Teo or Will or Andy, does something to impact the game. That's when the Dodgers seem like they become a team that goes from, hey, we're kind of hoping just to hold on down the stretch, which we were, but to a team that is really the best team in baseball, of which, just check the receipts, we have been talking about this ever since the double walk-offs at home against the Dodgers and that kind of thing. Even in the worst moments, just check the receipts. We have been very consistent with our messaging here at Dodgers Dogs that this team does not need to look in the past. They don't need to look at what's happened in the past. They just need to continue to look forward, get in the playoffs, and what Coach Barikoff always says, the Dodgers have the advantage in the playoffs because they just know how to handle the playoffs from an emotional perspective. They know how to handle the playoffs from not being too big of a moment, obviously. And then not just that, but I think, even some of the guys have said this, like Kike, and I think even Teo has kind of hinted to this, that I think during some parts of the season, this team kind of gets bored. When you've won 12 of the last 13 NOS, you've won 2 out of the last 5 World Series, sometimes a game on June 22nd, hey, as much as the pro as you are, and it's not like you're not giving full effort, it's not like any of that, but you are human. It is human nature sometimes to, on June 22nd, may not be quite as locked in as you are on October 1st, right? And so I think we see some of that whenever the Dodgers start in on the playoffs. 3 games in a row. You can't go 12 in a row. You can't go 12-0 if you don't go 3-0 first, right? That's where the Dodgers are at. And I keep hearing this theme. I kept hearing this theme coming in. Just steal one in Philadelphia. Hell with that, okay? Just go back to all the receipts on this show. Just go back. That's why on last show on Friday, I meant to have about 3 different shows over the weekend. Wasn't feeling very good. Went out to the farm Saturday morning with my beautiful bride of 26 years. Went out with my son who just built a house out on our farm. We did some work, went fishing a little bit, came back and just was too exhausted for the rest of the weekend to do anything. Just kind of laid down, watched Oklahoma State play football on Saturday. Did not even get to make it to their scrim. They actually had a game on Saturday. Didn't even get to make it to that. Didn't go to their scrimmage on Sunday because I was doing nothing but laying down and trying to recover and start feeling better. So didn't get to put a show together throughout the weekend. So super excited to come to you with a show here on Monday morning. But again, Teo, the play early, I'm thinking, gosh, something looks weird there. I message in our group chat, hey, what the heck was that? I mean, I'm not exactly sure how to even evaluate what that play was in right field when Teo lets it get by him and just kind of makes it look like he I don't want to say gave up on the play, but like it just looked weird. I'll put it to you that way. Andy Pajes had to come. I mean, it looked like even Andy Pajes was surprised that situation happened in the way that it did, the way that it looked. You know, we've been using this term presentation so much, and just the presentation of that ball getting by Teo didn't look good. And so I'm thinking, damn, Teo, you know what's going on here? And then, you know, the first thing that pops into your head as a Dodgers fan is, hey, it's Teo. It's Teo being Teo. He does stupid crap like that, okay? But the thing that we love about Teo, if you want to call that stupid crap, maybe he couldn't have got to the ball. Maybe the angle we saw on it was a little bit deceptive, so I don't want to go that far. But I will say every time that I have that thought of, Teo, what the hell are you doing? The next thought that comes into my mind is, he'll do something to make up for that. He will absolutely make up for that. And lo and behold, on the group chat, you know, everybody in the group chat, that's literally the first comment out of their mouth is, hey, Teo will make good for it. He always does. And sure as heck, he hits that right field, center field home run. And that's to give the Dodgers the lead, flip the scoreboard. That's another thing. Not only does it feel like every time Teo comes up big in a game, it's a game that the Dodgers win. It seems like the Dodgers win every time Teo puts his thumbprint on a game. And then I'll take one even further. I even posted about this about a month ago. When Teo Hernandez hits an opposite field home run, especially to right center, the Dodgers seem to win every single game. It's because it's almost like it's like he sets the tone of this team. Like, hey, if I'm thinking right center right here, if I'm thinking, hey, I'm just going to stay inside the ball, let the ball get deep, and just try to put the ball and play that type of deal. And if it happens to get in the air, then it's a home run. When Teo does that, it's almost like it sends shockwaves throughout the team that, hey, we are going to buy into doing whatever we have to do to win. And because of that, the Dodgers end up winning the game. So it was great to see Teo. I don't want to say make up for a mistake because I don't know that it was a mistake. Maybe I'm being too hard on that. But it just was a play that didn't have a very good presentation. So let's say it was great to see Teo make up for having a play that did not have a great presentation early in the game. And let's also say absolutely zero surprises that he was able to do that. So here's another thing, too, with that Teo home run. In a series like this that is so close and so tight in talent, I mean, these are the two best teams in baseball. Maybe the Blue Jays, hey, power to them. Braden Fisher, our good friend here from Dodgers Dawgs, as part of the Dodgers Daily Network, is a big part of their bullpen. So if the Dodgers don't win, I will say this squarely, I will become a gigantic Toronto Blue Jays fan. They also have our good friend Justin Brule. Justin Brule is with the Blue Jays as well. So I promise you, if the Dodgers do not make it to the World Series, if the Dodgers don't win the World Series, I hope it's the Toronto Blue Jays. No doubt about that, because they have two guys that I'm very familiar with. Braden Fisher, I've sat with his family, sat with his grandma, sat with his grandpa, sat with his folks. Great people, needed an opportunity. He's taken advantage of it there. So I say that to say, I still think the Dodgers and the Phillies are the two best teams in all of baseball. Again, the Blue Jays may have a say-so in that. We'll see. I think they're more hot than anything. I mean, Dalton Varsho has stretches this year where he just takes over games. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit a very impressive home run last night. George Springer Jr. getting a little bit older, but he's a good player. So we'll see how that goes. So having said that, I'm making a short story long like I do. With having the two best teams in baseball, in my opinion, and it being so close in talent level, it just feels like, typically speaking, one or two plays can turn the entire series. So, like, let's say the best case scenario, the Dodgers go ahead and win tonight, and it feels like, as this series ends, it's like one of those deals to where it's kind of stress-free, and it's not as stressful as we thought it was going to be, or it doesn't go 5 games, because the Dodgers go up 2-0 going back to L.A., and it becomes a little bit easier than we thought. Of course, I'm not saying that's going to happen. Let's just play that scenario. You can literally go back to one play being the reason for that, and that would be the Teo Hernandez home run. So it's just crazy. This is why we talk all year long, all year, about winning on the margins. Because when you have teams that are as equal as the two teams that are playing right now in the National League Divisional Series, one play not only can determine a single game, one play can determine an entire series. Let's hope that one play is that home run from Teo Hernandez to flip the scoreboard and to get the Dodgers on the high side, a lead that they were able to keep, because as we were, I believe, the first ones to tell you, probably was the plan for the Dodgers bullpen, to piggyback games with their starters. Not just that, but then also, if you went back to our social medias and our shows last week, we explained to you that the Dodgers, because they had a day off on Sunday, because they're going to have a day off on Tuesday, they can throw Tyler Glasnow as the piggyback pitcher in Game 1 behind Shohei Ohtani, and then still start him in Game 4. So the Dodgers actually got the absolute best of all worlds. So they got to keep playing with the wild card. So they got to keep fresh. They got to keep being able to kind of stay in a groove by playing those two games. So they got to play those two games while also getting to set up their pitching absolutely perfectly for the divisional series. So there was literally no disadvantage to playing in the wild card. So, and we also said, coming down the stretch to the regular season, that there was just enough ironing aspect to the Padres, and a little bit with the Giants and the D-backs making their late push to be the wild card. There was just enough pressure on the Dodgers to keep them sharp, but not so much like 2021 where you come into it exhausted. So I think the regular season played out perfectly. I think the wild card series left the Dodgers in a perfect position to where they got to stay sharp offensively, get to keep having at-bats, but still have their perfect pitching setup coming into the wild card series, which is Shohei Ohtani in Game 1 with Tyler Glasnow as a piggyback behind that. And then you have Blake Snell Game 2, and then you have with Emmett Sheehan ready to go, you have Yoshinobu Yamamoto Game 3, and then Tyler Glasnow can start Game 4 and go as long as he absolutely wants, and you have everybody still available. And so it could not be a better scenario for the Dodgers right now. It's all just worked out perfectly, but as Coach Holt always says, the perfect laid plans don't always work. So right now we're feeling great as Dodgers fans. You got Blake Snell on the mound tonight versus Jesus Luzardo. Luzardo is very good. We'll get into him here in a minute. But this is a game. I keep saying it. We've kept saying it. We've been consistent with this even through the down times. If the Dodgers just play the way that they're capable of, if Blake Snell goes out and pitches the way he's capable of, if the defense goes out and plays the way it's capable of, you have the late game substitutions. We saw Alex Call in left field, Justin Dean in center, Andy Pages in right. You still have the pinch runner with Hesson Kim. Of course, that came at the expense of Justin Robleski, which tells me that I don't think that tells me that they're going to use Tanner Scott in high leverage. I think that just tells me they're not going to use that position at all. They're banking on having Emmett Sheehan and Alex Vesia and Anthony Bonda and Clayton Kershaw and all those guys before they would ever get to either the Robleski or the Tanner Scott aspect of that. So that obviously came down to, do you want Robleski or Tanner Scott? They chose Tanner Scott because of the experience. And do you want either one of those over Hesson Kim? And so that tells me they valued the role of a pinch runner over either role that Robleski or Tanner Scott would play in this series. So that tells me they're going to choose Clayton Kershaw. That tells me they're going to choose Anthony Bonda and Alex Vesia if they need to go lefty in the pen over a Tanner Scott or a Justin Robleski. I could be wrong. Dave could bring Tanner Scott in the Roki Sasaki role or the Tyler Glasnow role and that they had in Game 1 in the 8th inning. I would be shocked if that happens. I see Tanner Scott. Roki Sasaki, we mentioned this on the last show. I know Bruce hit up on it. It's a great question. Hey, why don't you want Roki Sasaki as the closer? Not saying that, okay? I'm saying, number one, still there's some work to do in terms of being in that guarantee situation because he has such limited time on the way back from this. So I think, for one, what he did, the excitement that he showed, and then also, more importantly, the composure, especially after he yanked that first pitch on Saturday. I was like, oh, snap, here we go. We're going to see how this goes. But, the Dodgers bet on him. He came through, and I think what he did on Saturday in that huge environment, Game 1 being such a big deal for the Dodgers, he is at the very top. We're talking about Roki Sasaki of the trust tree. So the question becomes, do you just make him your closer? Well, that was kind of my answer to Bruce the other night. I'm not saying he shouldn't be your closer, but what I am saying is I don't want to pin him in just to saying he has to get the last 3 outs. I want to be able to use Roki Sasaki to get the biggest 3 outs of the game. And I think Dave Wright, if you heard Dave Roberts' post-game conference over the weekend, that's exactly what he said. He is literally echoing the exact comment that we have towards Roki Sasaki, and that is he is a weapon. Let's use him in whatever way most impacts the game. If that's the last 3 outs, then it's the last 3 outs. If it's 3 outs in the 8th inning because that's the biggest part of their lineup, then it's 3 outs in the 8th inning because it's the biggest 3 outs of the lineup. And here I'll say this about Alex Vesia. Alex Vesia has been a stud for the Dodgers. He limped into the postseason. We've mentioned that. But here's the deal as a manager, okay? When you get into a big spot and it's nut crunching time and it's win or lose time and you got to put somebody in, okay? What you tell yourself is, okay, win, lose, or draw, because if you're in this game, if you're in athletics long enough, you are going to lose, and you are going to lose a lot. If you're in it long enough and for high stakes enough, you're going to lose a lot in games that you leave just sick to your stomach. It's going to make you not want to sleep at night. There's going to be plenty of situations like that. So what you learn as a manager or a coach is that in those moments, you want to put the guy in the game that if all else fails, when you put your head down on your pillow at night, can you sleep with yourself knowing that you gave every single person, all 26 guys in that dugout, did you give them, with every decision you made, did you give them the best opportunity to win? If you can truly answer that question to yourself, that as a manager, I did everything I could to put all 26 guys in the best position to win. Even if that doesn't happen, you put your head down at night, proud of yourself, and you sleep like a baby. Now, are you happy about it? No. But you can live with yourself because you put your best foot forward. All you can do is make the best decisions that you have available right there in front of you. Then let the chips fall where they may. And more times than not, if you make the right decisions and you have the best players, like the Dodgers do, they fall like they did on Saturday night. Alex Vesia comes in, he slams the door. How about the composure, the competitiveness of Alex Vesia? Is there anybody else that you would have rather had? I was disappointed in Tyler Glass. Now, I actually wanted him to take the Dodgers home there. I thought after he struck out Schwarber, I was like, okay, we're on it now. But then he just started pulling a slider, which if you go back even to his rehabs in Oklahoma City, that's like his number one thing that he's done the most since he's come back off of his injuries, that he pulls that slider. So then he started pulling the slider again. He walks home, and he didn't get to finish, and he just kind of left a mess out there, right? Bases loaded. You had to have somebody, number one. The first thing you had to have in that situation was somebody that could handle the moment. The moment was not going to be too big for them. The moment, no moments are ever too big for Alex Vesia. He proved it again on Saturday night. And then number two, you had to have somebody that you trusted to come in and throw strikes. And so those are the two things that Alex Vesia, that's why he checked the boxes there. The moment was not going to be too big for him, and he was going to come in and throw strikes. And he's a guy who has been elite. They're not good, elite through his Dodgers career, even though he has struggled as of late and kind of limped into the playoffs. So as a Dodgers fan who has been in much smaller situations, but situations like that to where I've had to make decisions, and hey, you make a decision, and if we lose, it's going to really suck. If you win, it's going to be really exciting. Big situations like that in terms of the game moments. Having been in those situations, even if things had not worked out with Alex Vesia and he had given up, say, a 3-run double and the Dodgers had lost, I would have put my head on my pillow that night and I would have slept like a baby, not happy, but knowing that the Dodgers literally did everything they could to win that game, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. Now, if Alex Vesia would have went out there and walked 3 or 4 guys, that's a totally different scenario. But having said that, it's a lot better when that doesn't happen, when it does work out. And then how about Roki Sasaki? 1,000% trust tree performance there. If he was nervous, which He certainly didn't show it, which maybe he did with his first pitch that he yanked. But you could tell he was very excited. So it's one thing just to get over your nerves, which a lot of times once you get out there, you throw that first pitch. In baseball a lot, you want that, like if you're playing third base or shortstop and you're a little bit nervous, you want a ball to come to you right off the bat because you want to get that first play out of the way. Or if you make an error per se, once you make an error, what you want is like the next ball to come right at you because you want it to be like basketball to where like if you miss a shot, you've had so much action happen in the next 5 minutes, you've completely forgotten about the error, right? So it's one thing to be not to get over your nerves, which typically speaking you do after you throw that first pitch. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's like after you get that first hit or you make the first play, the nerves go away. Now it's just baseball. So after Sasaki threw that first strike, it just became baseball to him. You could tell he settled down. But it's one thing to lose the nerves. It's another to be able to deal with and handle and harness the excitement that you feel. That's what he was able to do. He was able to throw a couple of splitters, throw some fastballs up in the zone, and really, really, really look good. So for the full thing, for the aspect of the Dodgers were just up one. It was the ultimate big time situations. It was at Citizen State Bank Park, which is the best home field advantage in baseball, in my opinion. It was in such a huge game. There is no bigger statement that Roki Sasaki could have made to get at the top of that trust tree than he made on Saturday. For that, just absolutely awesome, Roki. We need you to continue to do that. Now, if he's not available, the question is going to be who is the B guy, the other guy that you would trust to put in that situation to get the last three outs. I would have to think in that scenario, either Alex Vesia gets the up down and he throws 4 outs there, or Blake Trinan comes in. That would be my guess as to how you would end that. So super proud of Alex Vesia, super proud of Roki Sasaki, super proud of Tyler Glasnow for coming in and showing composure, dropping a bunch of great curveballs to get some great hitters. Just couldn't quite finish it there. A little bit disappointed in that. And super impressed. Hey, this is going to sound weird when you're talking about Shohei Ohtani because he's the greatest player that we have ever seen. I'm going to go ahead and say that. But I'm not going to lie, he came into that game having never won a playoff game ever pitching. And so after he gave up the 3 spot, I'm like, okay, well, we're just going to kind of see, what in terms of pitching wise, what's going to happen here to a guy that's never won a playoff game. Is he going to let it snowball or is he just going to go right back into it? Well, how about recording the next 6 outs, okay? And how about striking out? And I think it was like actually, let me get to it right here. So after he gave up the 3 spot, he responded by retiring the next 7 hitters in a row, and 9 out of the last 11. And of those 11 outs, 5 were strikeouts. And in the end, this was a Blake Harris post. Awesome post, Blake Harris. This was absolutely awesome. If you don't follow him on X, you are missing out because Blake Harris during games gives some great stuff here. So how about 23 swings and misses for Shohei Ohtani? That's the second most whiffs in the postseason ever in the StatCast era for the Dodgers. As far as his offense, Shohei Ohtani, I'm going to say this point blank. We say this quite a bit with Ohtani. He's in Deadpool mode, and we say all the time, Shohei Ohtani actually hits more home runs when he thinks left center. When you say, well, if you think left center, opposite field, you're kind of giving up on hitting home runs. Not for Ohtani. Ohtani has more power to the opposite field. He's in Deadpool mode, which in the regular season, he's able to still function in that Deadpool mode. Because you're facing down staff guys. You're playing your schedule. So you're liable to be playing a team that's not very good. And not only a team that's not very good, they're down staff guys because they're down on pitching. So even if you're dead in Deadpool mode or you're not doing things exactly how you should, Ohtani's able to overpower guys because he's not facing the best of the best. Well, when you get into the playoffs, now you're facing only the best teams, and as we've seen the Dodgers do, look at the only pitchers they threw the other night, Ohtani, Glasnow, Vesia, and Sasaki. Not only are you facing just the best teams, you're facing just the best pitchers on those teams. So if you have a flaw in what your approach or your swing at that moment, it is going to get exposed. And so in my opinion, that flaw right now is that Ohtani is dead pull. He's not thinking left center. And because of that, the Phillies are throwing out just their best pitching and they're exploiting those flaws. So we need Ohtani, in my opinion, to let the ball get a little deeper, think left center, try to hit a hard line drive right over the shortstop's head, and let's see if you can get the ball in the air and hit a home run. So that's where I'm at on the offensive side for him. In terms of Will Smith, we mentioned in the show last week what a great crowd we have. We are going to get into the chat here in a minute. I want to thank everybody for this wonderful crowd that we have logged in here on Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. And so thank you so much. It's always so humbling. So as far as Will Smith, we mentioned last week, there's nobody on earth that could tell you one way or the other how Will Smith is going to handle coming into a game and pitching or catching the rest of a game. So whenever he came in and pinch hit, that was such a great idea, because it's like, hey, let's just find out, right? Let's see if Will Smith can catch the rest of the game, because if he can't, then maybe you can put somebody on the do whatever you have to do. So that, as much as, hey, the Dodgers need a pinch hitter right here, that was as much as it was that. It was also, hey, we need to find out with Will Smith exactly what we have, and we need to find out right now. And so I think that was a great combination between the big picture of finding out exactly what you have with Will Smith, and then also the short term of, hey, yeah, we do need a pinch hitter in this situation. Will Smith caught the rest of the game, and I tell you what, he looked a lot better. He looked as good as I could have hoped that he would have looked in that situation. So I think the Will Smith thing, think about this, guys. The Dodgers have won 3, and gals out there, you wonderful Dodgers dogs. The Dodgers have won all 3 games in the postseason, and Will Smith and Max Muncy really have not done a whole lot. Max Muncy, is a guy that the Dodgers really, really, really need to get going, and Will Smith is a guy that they're just getting back. So just think about this, okay? Just think about, the matter of fact, Max Muncy just has 1 hit. He has 1 for, so far in the postseason, he has 1 for, that is 4-7-9. Okay, so he had 4 at-bats in the Cincy game, and he had the first Cincy game he played in. He had 3 at-bats in the second one. He had 2 at-bats in the last game, and he is 1 for, that would be 1 for, 4-7. He's 1 for 9. So there you go. The Dodgers are doing this without Will Smith and without Max Muncy being an offensive presence. And so if they can get either one of those guys, hopefully both of them going, just think what the prospects are moving forward. So if you can win this Philadelphia series without Will Smith and Max Muncy really getting going, you're going to be facing teams, in my opinion, that aren't as good as Philadelphia. And then if you also get Max Muncy and Will Smith going, you become better. The competition becomes not as talented, I will say. Although the Brewers, man, they play a great brand of baseball. So I don't want to give any disrespect to anybody. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is that's how exciting the future of this team could be. And if you win tonight, Blake Snell, just go out and do what you need to do. Hey, here's the thing. The advice I would give Blake, of which he needs no advice. Don't get me wrong. I'm not stupid enough to think that he actually needs advice. Okay. Tonight is not about efficiency. You have everybody that you could possibly need ready to go in the bullpen. Don't worry about being efficient, even if you go 5 innings, even if it's only 6 innings. Think of tonight, this needs to be approached by Blake Snell almost like he's coming out of the bullpen. And what I mean by that is, even if it takes him 25 pitches an inning, the only thing that matters is keeping the Philadelphia Phillies off the scoreboard. That's it. So there is no, hey, double-edged sword. Well, he needs to be good and then also efficient. You have everybody at your disposal tonight, except for Tyler Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Those will be the only 2 guys, okay, which Yamamoto never was anyways. Ohtani, obviously. But everybody else, everybody that you could have possibly had ready to go tonight is ready. So if you're Blake Snell, there is 0 efficiency factor to this. I don't give a crap how efficient he is. All I care about, and I don't really care about how far he goes. Obviously, we would rather him go 7 innings. And again, This goes back to the last game that he threw against the Reds. I think he could have went that 8th inning, maybe the 9th inning, and thrown 130 pitches. But Dave got him out. Another great decision by Dave. Dave got him out at 91 pitches because he figured, hey, we might have to fire that 130-pitch bullet during the playoffs, especially against the Phillies. Tonight is a game to where if Blake Snell is still getting outs, even if he's not efficient, empty the tank. I don't care if it goes 130 pitches. Empty the tank. So you might see Blake Snell, if he goes 7 innings, even if it takes 130 pitches and he only gives up a run or two, fantastic. It's not about efficiency tonight. It's not about length tonight for Blake Snell. It's about hanging zeros. So I kind of evaluate what we want, what we need out of Blake Snell tonight, how I would evaluate a reliever in a high leverage situation. I don't care how many pitches it takes you, just string a zero, which, to be honest with you, that's kind of what Blake Snell does, is he just hangs zeros, even though sometimes you're uncomfortable and even though sometimes it's not totally efficient. So I'll say this, Jesus Luzardo on the other side, good fastball, both a 4-seam and a 2-seam. He's heavy on the 4-seam. This gets very simple to me with Luzardo. There's 3 keys here. One is be very aggressive against his 4-seam fastballs. Very aggressive, okay? He will give up hits against his fastballs. He does not give up hits against his slider. His slider is a swing and miss pitch, so just don't swing at the slider at all, okay? Unless maybe it's a get me over that you're sitting on because you've done some film study, whatever. And then do not swing at the changeup unless you see it up. I think it's as simple tonight against Luzardo as ambushing the fastball, laying off the slider, making sure you see the changeup up. If you follow those 3 keys for the Dodgers tonight, Jesus Luzardo is a guy that the Dodgers can get to. Although if you look at his baseball savant numbers, he is in the red in everything. So I don't want to make it sound simple like, hey, this is a guy that's simple to get to, because he's not. He's a guy that going back about 2 to 3 years ago, Austin and I have been advocating the Dodgers go get, right? Because he's that good. So this is a great pitcher. But this is a guy that has definite tendencies in terms of how you attack him from an approach perspective, what you swing at, what you don't. And one great thing about that is the Dodgers, typically speaking, when it's a game plan like that, like, hey, we're going to ambush fastballs, we're going to lay off this, and we're going to grind that. Those are the types of game plans that the Dodgers usually are the best at executing and carrying out. So look for that tonight. Do the Dodgers ambush some fastballs, maybe get some big hits off of Luzardo early off the fastball, both the 4-seam and the 2-seam? Do they lay off the slider, and do they only hit the changeups that they see up in the zone? Look for those to be keys tonight. That's going to be super exciting. And then, again, let's see if Blake Snell can just hang zeros. I don't care how efficient he is. Let's just see what can happen there. And then also, we're going to see what Will Smith is capable of. And then this is why the Dodgers had to carry the 3rd catcher. We said this on our last show. You can't bring in Will Smith in the 5th inning of Game 1 if you don't have Dalton Rushing sitting on your bench. Because, yes, Will Smith did finish the game, but what if he can't? And I'm telling you, I told you last week, nobody knew if he was going to be able to finish that game or pitch Game 2 or do whatever he's going to do. We'll see how that goes. So carrying that 3rd catcher was a huge deal, even if Dalton Rushing doesn't play, because, again, that allows you to be aggressive with Will Smith, because even if he comes out, you still have Dalton Rushing to turn to, even though Ben Rortvedt started the game behind the plate. So carrying that 3rd catcher turned out to be a big deal in that game on Monday. And so, hey, again, I'm going to go back to this. I keep hearing, hey, just steal one in Philadelphia. No, you're the better team. You have Blake Snell going tonight. You have the best offensive team. I don't care you are that in Philadelphia, which in my opinion is the best home field advantage. You're the better team. This goes back to what Andrew Friedman said. Hey, we put this roster together. We have expectations. We think we're the best team. It's just a matter of going out and proving it, right? So go out and be the best team. Don't settle for just winning Game 1 because Teo Hernandez hit a home run. Shohei Ohtani settled down after the 3 spot, and your bullpen came through, and you played good defense. Don't settle for that. Go out tonight, prove that you're the best team, win this damn game, right? Go do it. I mean, this is a team that is 1,000% capable of going out tonight, Blake Snell stringing zeros, the offense get it together, have a good night, and winning this game 5-1. This team is capable of doing that and taking a 2-game series lead back to Los Angeles. Plus, I mean, yeah, home field advantage, yes, this and that, but in baseball, it's not as big of a deal in other sports, okay? So you don't want to say, hey, you have to win both games in Los Angeles to end the series, okay? You don't win, and if you just split in Los Angeles, then you have to go back and win a game 5 in Philadelphia. So don't fool yourselves and think, hey, this is a bigger game for Philadelphia than it is the Dodgers. It is not, because if the Dodgers win this game tonight, then all they would have to do is split one of the 2 games in Los Angeles, and they would win this series. So just get out of the mode that, hey, this is a bigger game for, if you hear that from an announcer, if you hear that from anybody, that this is a bigger game than for Philadelphia than it is the Dodgers, get it out of your mind. If you're a player, if you're Dave, if you're anybody that has anything to do with tonight's game, please don't buy into that garbage. This game is huge for the Dodgers. You do not want to go, you don't want to have to go back to Los Angeles and have to win both games at home against a really good Phillies team. Otherwise, game 5 is going to be in Philly. So don't buy into that crap. You play tonight's game like this is game 7. Manage tonight's game like this is game 7. Put your next guy in, have the sense of urgency like you cannot lose this game whatsoever. Manage game 2 like you did game 1 and make it that big, because it absolutely is. Carol S., thank you so much for joining, says, feel good about this. Good morning, Chuck, to yourself. Rumar Spencer, huge game 1, came from behind victory to go up 1-0, and if we continue to play our game and do what we're supposed to, we will be fine. No doubt about that. Ran Matendo 77, Snell needs to cook today, no doubt. Again, not worried about efficiency, not worried about length. I am worried about zeros. I don't care if it takes 78 pitches per inning. Anything, I'm exaggerating, obviously, but do what you have. Slow it down. There was many pitches as you have. Just string a 0. Yes, let's go up 2 on the Phillies tonight, Chuck. No doubt about that. Experience pays huge dividends. We talked about that. Morning to yourself, Al Minerva. Filthy Dirty Sanchez channeling Glavine in the playoffs with that beautiful changeup. Viva Los Dodgers from Al Minerva. Let's move. Okay, here we go. Tonight's Phillies pitcher should be one the Dodgers can handle. We will see. Anything can happen. That's from Chuck. We just mentioned with Luzardo. Lay off the slider, see the changeup up, and ambush the fastball. At least that's my game plan. Probably way too oversimplified, but I'm an oversimplified brain. So there you go. Hey, Elishiva Jones, thank you so much for joining. Let's go Dodgers. It's hard to get mad at Teo. He has such a great attitude on camera. Yeah, no, I never stay mad at Teo. I'm always just like, Teo, what the hell, man? It's not like mad. It's just more of a, what the hell, man? I mean, like, if I was a manager, I wouldn't go up and like rip his ass or be mad at him or anything. Literally, the way I would approach him would be, Teo, what the hell, man? What the hell was that? And then he would probably smile. We'd hug each other. And then as I was hugging him, I'd say, you're going to make up for that shit, right? That's exactly how I would handle Teo in that moment. So no doubt, it's definitely hard to get mad at Teo to begin with, and it's hard to stay mad at him as well. Al Minerva says, I honestly thought maybe he's betting on the game and had thought that evaporated when he hit that ball. Yes. Blue Jays blew the doors off yesterday. Yes, they were very impressive. Jays simply crushed the Yankees, which is fantastic. Again, the Blue Jays are my second favorite team, no doubt about that, because of Braden Fisher and Justin Brule, 100% about that. Hey, Rumar Spencer, no player is perfect. Mistakes will happen, but without Teo, Dodgers would have a hard time winning a World Series, no doubt. That's why we love Teo, Rumar. That's why we brought him back, and that's why we are so glad that he is on this team. And yes, you might be right, Ran. Matendo 77. The Yankees, they squeaked by the Red Sox. Maybe they just aren't nearly as good as the Blue Jays, but we'll say, hey, it's baseball. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a team blow the doors off a team one game and win like 15-0. come back the next day, never even be able to score and lose like 3-2. So the runs don't count up. You can't bring them to the next game. So you start 0-0 the next game. Phillies are going to try to put pressure on the Los Angeles outfield defense, even in the ninth. Kepler stretched to a double, down 5-3, not a spot. Yeah, that was weird. That was not a good play by Kepler. I mean, you're not the tying run, and I understand the premise of putting pressure on the defense, and he was safe, so it didn't hurt the Phillies. But boy, that was really that was not a smart move, because hey, that's one of those deals. If you make the first out at third base, it better not be close. If you're going to take second base when you're down 5-3 and you're the only runner on base, it better not be close. And that was too close of a play for me. So Trey Savage was incredible. That was awesome to see his family in the stands, yes. And, just kind of to hear the process of what a rookie went through the day that he was starting a big game. So I was very happy for Savage. You could obviously tell where he got his composure from when you heard from both his dad and his mom. Both of them were super, super, super composed. And so you can tell where he got his composure from, and he just really shoved against the Yankees yesterday. Hey, Chuck says, Casey, I think Kershaw over them for sure. I would be disappointed if he did anything else until Kershaw proves he can't do it. Yes, Rumar Spencer, thank you so much for joining in the house, you savage. Let's see. All right, here you go. Ela Shiva, Rumar. Okay, we're talking to each other, so let me get to some more comments. Let me go to the bottom, work my way up. And Ela Shiva says, yesterday Kyle Hurt was practicing on the field with the Dodgers. I wonder it might be a possibility for NLCS. I would greatly doubt that, just because we saw the Dodgers put Tanner Scott on instead of Robo, and that's just the experience that they value. In 8.1 innings for Kyle Hurt, I just don't think they would trust that type of experience to put him on an NL, to go straight from AAA to an NLCS with only 8.1 innings of experience. I don't think they would do that to a grizzled veteran. I think they would have a hard time doing that. Definitely with a rookie, it'd be even more tough. Mr. Classic says, I do agree. Christopher Sanchez pitched lights out, and the Dodgers still came back. Yeah. Hey, Al Minerva is enjoying the conversation here. QTC says, where's Coach Holt? That guy is fun to watch. Yeah, he'll be on tomorrow. Coach Holt is Tuesdays and let's see, usually he's either Tuesday or Wednesday and Friday. So he'll be with me probably tomorrow. Okay, so Jonathan Voico, thank you so much for joining Win today, and it's a clear path to the NLDS victory with plenty of rest for the champion, the NLCS, no doubt. That's exactly what I'm saying. This is just as big of a game for the Dodgers as it is the Phillies. Please don't have the mentality that, hey, this is bigger for Philadelphia than it is to LA. It's not. You do not want to play a Game 5 in Philly. You don't have to be in a situation to where you have to win both in Los Angeles to keep that from happening. Tonight is absolutely huge. And Racy, you are exactly right. The Dodgers need to use the Phillies, the fact that they are going to be tight tonight. They have to win. If they don't win, this is really a difficult. Now, it's not impossible. They're good enough to win 3 in a row against the Dodgers. But imagine having to go to L.A. with the Dodgers starting pitching with their bullpen and their lineup and having to win both games in L.A., right? So, yeah, if they're uptight or whatever it may be, use that against them. No doubt about that. Chuck says the Dodgers won't settle. They know when you have the opportunity. They do. That's a great point, because we saw that even last year in the World Series. Okay, and Dave even said, hey, I would have been nervous if we had not have won that Game 5. So take that experience from Game 5 that you didn't leave it up to saying, hey, we have a cushion. Screw that cushion. Just like you said, screw that cushion in the World Series last year and go out and do it. That's a great point there, Chuck. 100% great point. The Phillies will make huge adjustments for tonight's game. Easier said than done in terms of I'm not exactly sure. I'm going backwards, so let me actually go forward here. Will look very comfortable, albeit rusty. I agree with that. Was very good to see from Will Smith, no doubt about that. Chuck Luzardo, when he's focused, is super good. I agree. Everything on Baseball Savant for him is in the red. He is a fantastic pitcher. I do think there is a game plan that the Dodgers can put together to lay off the slider, curveball only when it's up in the zone, ambush the four-seam fastball, and if you do that, I think there's a clear path to having success because the Dodgers are talented enough. Also have to remember Schwarber and Harper with horrible in game one. Expect them to be better. No doubt about that. Jay has a question. Do you see Sheehan as a likely multi-inning guy today, if necessary? That is exactly correct. First of all, it's left and right, which is a great kind of combo to throw back to back. And two, by having your long inning guy, Jay, here's the way that what my statement to that would be. Okay, Blake, I don't care if you go 4 innings today, right? I need zeros. I don't need efficiency. I need zeros, okay? Tonight is all about you just not giving up runs. Don't worry about emptying the tank or how you just go out and string zeros. If it takes you 25 pitches an inning, I don't care. And so if I'm going to say that, it's also, you don't want to throw like 7 relief pitchers after that. So I can make that statement knowing that even if he only goes 5, okay, if Emmett Sheehan comes in and throws 3 innings, now all we need is Roki Sasaki to cover the 9th, right? So I think by having Emmett Sheehan as your long inning piggyback guy, that allows you to tell Blake Snell, to heck with all the efficiency, go string zeros. Do what you have to do to string zeros because we can cover that extra inning or 2 if we need to with Emmett Sheehan. Al Minerva says, I expect more competitive at-bats from Ohtani. Dead pull, and again, if you're dead pull and you have a flaw in your swing against only the best teams and only their best pitchers, that is always a situation to where they're going to exploit your weaknesses, which is happening to Ohtani right now. Michael Johnson, thank you so much for joining. Bet factor is always huge for us. And hey, this Big Banos, number 34 forever. Good morning, Coach. Good morning to yourself. You think today in some point of the game, Kershaw came to pitch like Glasnow did Saturday night. I think Kershaw could, but it'd be left to left, and you're taking really sizzling stuff from Blake Snell going to less sizzling stuff. I think from a matchup perspective, I would stay away from Kershaw after Blake Snell. My piggyback guy would be Emmett Sheehan. I would wait till you had a little bit better matchup to move into the Clayton Kershaw. So tonight, to me, would be Emmett Sheehan, maybe game 3, maybe game 4. What would be cool is if Clayton Kershaw in Dodger Stadium got to pitch the last 3 outs to clinch the National League Divisional Series. How cool would that be? I'm setting that up. Let's make it to where Clayton Kershaw gets the last 3 outs in the NLDS at home. How about that? Hey, Rumar Spencer said Shohei had a slow start pitching, but he did well with the strikeouts. But the complete opposite at the plate, yes, we've talked about what I think his issues are there. Hey, Will looked fine. He needs those at-bats. That's another thing. If you can get these at-bats for Max and Will, get them back in the groove while still winning, hopefully they catch that rhythm by the NLCS, and at that point, now you become a very complete team. So just continue to win while you get Will and Smith back on the beam, as Mark would say, and just continue to go about it from that perspective. I admit I could be wrong, but I just think this offensive performance was poor because he pitched. He doesn't hit well. You could very well be right, but he's not pitching tonight. And we'll see how that goes. And he got the off day. Chuck Huddleston, I agree with you, Casey. More power to left and hits better going the opposite way. It keeps him off balance, and it keeps him letting the ball get deeper. Then he pulls balls better on pit. Yeah, that's where I'm at. There are players who are bad regular season and bad postseason both. Philly fan was so pissed they lost that game 1. Yeah, that's Michael Johnston. Thank you for that comment there. So I'm going to go down to the bottom before we get out of here. That would be cool if Kershaw clinched it, no doubt. That's how I would set it up. Emmett Sheehan tonight. I would tell Blake Snell, don't worry about being efficient, and let's go. Tonight we might see Suarez and Buehler out of the pen. Wouldn't it be weird to see Walker Buehler? Let's not let Walker Buehler do exactly what I said about Clayton Kershaw. Let's not lose tonight and then put a situation out there where Walker Buehler could get the last 3 outs to win for the Phillies. Let's not do that. And let's stay away from Johan Duran. Let's just have the lead, and let's continue to kind of pitch and play with the lead all night long, and then let Emmett Sheehan and then Roki Sasaki bring it home. That's what I would do there. So, hey, what a wonderful crowd we've had. I want to thank everybody. It's always so humbling to have the great support that we have here at Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. So, I don't. Austin may go live tonight. He may not. I put a show together today because the game is at 3 o'clock Pacific. I didn't know if Austin would be able to put a show up in time to in front of that game. So I went ahead and did our regular 11 o'clock show. So tune back in tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and want to thank everybody for tuning into Dodgers Dawgs. Sorry I did not get any post-game videos over the weekend or do anything over the weekend social media-wise. I just was not feeling good enough to do that. It's just kind of one of those stages right now that I'm fighting through. So I take advantage of the days that I feel good. So there you go. So until next time, which may be tonight with Austin Brubaker. If not, definitely I think I'm going to do a post game after tonight's game, and then tomorrow at our regularly scheduled 11 o'clock time. I want to thank you for tuning in and say, go Dodgers. It's a great day to be a Dodger.